The Dallas Mavericks get a virtuoso performance from Luka Doncic, and the Dallas Mavericks put the Los Angeles Clippers on the brink of elimination after winning their third road game in this series against the Los Angeles Clippers. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can catch me on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. Luka Doncic drops 42 points, 14 assists, and 8 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr. adds another 20 points for a Mavericks team that now sends the Los Angeles Clippers to the brink of elimination with an opportunity to come back home to the Mavericks on Friday night to close out the Clippers inside of their own building. Teams that win Game 5 of a tied 7-game series go on to win the series 82.5% of the time. You could take that with you, Charles Barkley, as the Mavericks storm into Los Angeles and for the third time get a road win. It was Boban Marjanovic who made the story for this game for the Mavericks as he was inserted into the starting lineup in place of Maxi Kleber to try and provide some measure of paint resistance, but more importantly, try to get the Clippers to adjust to what the Mavericks were doing instead of the other way around. And it worked, especially in the first half. You saw a Los Angeles Clippers team take many more outside shots than what they were accustomed to doing so, as they had completely dominated the Mavericks inside the paint over the last 3 games alone, scoring 150 points in the paint, an average of 50 a game. That was different in this game, not only due to the zone defense. I know some folks think that zone is for cowards, but the zone defense, along with Boban Marjanovic's presence, allowed this Mavericks team to defend much better, but more importantly, forced the Clippers to shoot many more outside shots and struggled in doing so, especially throughout the entirety of this game. Obviously, the game continued to remain chippy as it always does. Marcus Morris was assessed a flagrant 1 in the first quarter for an elbow on Maxi Kleber, but it was Luka Doncic who was a sparkling, terrific first quarter. 19 points in the first quarter alone for Luka Doncic, and that set the tone for a Mavericks team that shot 57% in the first quarter, while the Clippers only shot 42%. Boban, in his 8 minutes and 17 seconds in the first quarter, was a +2 for the Dallas Mavericks. More importantly, they only had 8 points in the paint, and 2 fast break points did the Clippers in the first quarter. But it was Luka Doncic who was the story of the first half. 27 points on 10 of 19 shooting, 5 of 7 from downtown. The Mavericks shot 48% from 2 and 46% from 3, although Luka Doncic was the only player for the Mavericks who was in double figures at halftime. I asked Luka Doncic after the game, are you surprised by your own performances given the massive amount of performances that you've had in these playoffs? Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
Kevin Gray, 105 through the Fan. Luka, you've obviously had massive playoff performances before. Do you even get surprised at yourself sometimes at the kinds of performances that you have in these kinds of moments, the way that you did tonight in a game that you guys obviously had to have in this series?
I mean, I could have played way better, I missed a lot of shots, some layups that I shouldn't make. But it wasn't just me, man. It was the whole team, the energy. Doro was unbelievable. DP, Dwight Powell with his energy, KP with a big shot, Timmy with a big shot, and the whole team was just there bringing up the energy.
So Luka Doncic quickly says, look, I could have played better. Yeah, I did shoot 50% from the three-point line, going 6 of 12 in this game, but it was my teammates that showed up big time, talking about guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Kristaps Porzingis, and others who had massive three-pointers in this game, which we'll get to here momentarily. But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard combined for 22 points in the first half, but it was the Clippers who only shot 35% from 3 and just 38% overall in the first half, and only had 5 fast break points that really set the tone on the defensive end for a Mavericks team that had to come out and play much better defense, and you saw that throughout the entirety of this game as they only gave up 100 points. That gets us to the third quarter. After Luka Doncic scored and assisted on 18 of the 20 baskets in the first half, it was the third quarter that really made the difference in this game. The Clippers, give them credit, came out on an 11-3 run to take a 5-point lead at 67-62 in the third quarter. Reggie Jackson started getting into the act, shooting the ball well from the three-point line. But Paul George picked up his fourth foul with 6:32 left in the third quarter. That set up what turned out to be an overall 22-3 run to end the third quarter, including a 16-0 run by the Dallas Mavericks to give themselves a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter, where they were up 89-75 after that 16-0 run, led by the sensational Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell was a plus 17 with his hustle plays, his ability to make plays on both ends of the floor, his rim running, and more importantly, the overall energy that he provided. Kawhi Leonard was uncharacteristic in terms of his turnovers. Yes, in this game he had 20 points, but he also had 5 big turnovers and was turning the ball over quite a bit, especially in the third quarter. I asked Dwight Powell after the game about his massive third quarter and what it meant for this team to be able to go on that 16-0 run. Here's what Dwight Powell had to say.
Kevin Gray, 105 through the fan. Dwight, a massive third quarter, a plus 17. You guys ended that third quarter on a 16-0 run. Can you talk about the focus that you had in that quarter and what that run meant for you guys to help hold off the Clippers in this game tonight?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, coming out of the half, you want to make sure get off to a good start, get some momentum. Obviously, defensively focusing on their key guys was crucial for us, and taking advantage of the opportunity we had offensively.
So Dwight Powell saying, look, we had an opportunity to take advantage of some turnovers and able to get out of transition, and we were able to do so. Dwight Powell, along with Luka Doncic, who had 13 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds in the third quarter, were absolutely sensational in giving the lift and the boost that the Mavericks needed to hold the Los Angeles Clippers to just 21 points in the third quarter, outscoring them 33-21. They held the Clippers to 38% from the field and from 3 in the third quarter. Kawhi Leonard, as I mentioned, uncharacteristically had 3 turnovers in the third quarter alone and only had 4 points, as the Mavericks led 89-75 entering into the fourth quarter. Luka Doncic had 40 points through 3 quarters. That is the kind of performance that Luka Doncic was on. I asked Rick Carlisle after the game more about Dwight Powell and his impact on the game and what it meant for him to be able to have the massive performance that he did. Here's what Rick Carlisle had to say.
Kevin Gray, 105 through the fan. Rick, Dwight Powell in the crucial third quarter, a plus 17, and you guys ended that third quarter on a 16-0 run. Can you talk about his impact in tonight's game and what that third quarter meant for you guys as far as the rest of the game was concerned?
Yeah, look, everybody that went in the game tonight did something important. It's hard to look at the minutes. Like Josh Richardson didn't play very much, but those 2 free throws at the end, sealed the deal. I mean, he's done that 5 times this year. Dwight's minutes. Dwight's played meaningful minutes in the series, but not a lot of them. And he's always held his own. Look, he's one of our best competitors, so I felt that we needed to get him more involved in the series tonight, and he delivered. 3 for 3, ended up being plus 10, and he's always going to bring it. So, everything that everybody brought was needed, but Powell was terrific.
So Rick Carlisle saying, look, no matter who got into the game, whether it was Powell, whether it was Josh Richardson, who sealed it at the end with his 2 clutch free throws to get the score to 105-100 to seal the game for us, everyone had a hand in this game and what was a massive performance for this team. It got off to a slow start in the fourth quarter, though, as the Clippers found themselves in the bonus at the 5:51 mark, but it was Luka Doncic who was able to stem the tide to hit a big basket to put him up 95-89 after there was a lot of misses for a Mavericks team that just seemed to could not buy a bucket in the fourth quarter early on. A lot of rim outs, a lot of bad luck in terms of shots going down. But back-to-back three-pointers by Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kristaps Porzingis, who absolutely struggled in this game mightily for the Dallas Mavericks, as he only had 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting, but allowed the game to come to him because of the switching of the game plan that the Mavericks put in place to go bigger, which featured Boban Marjanovic and a lot of the different things that they were doing from a coverage and a defensive standpoint, that it felt like rendered Kristaps Porzingis useless in this game. But you give him credit. He hit a massive three-pointer after Tim Hardaway Jr. hit one at the 250 mark. KP backed it up with another one to put the Mavericks up 10 at 101-91 with 2:13 left. Tim Hardaway Jr., after hitting the first three, created a turnover on Paul George, who was loose with the basketball with turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. And then Kristaps Porzingis comes back and backs it up and puts them up 10 with 2:13 left. And ultimately, the Mavericks were able to hang on as the Clippers tried to make a late run. They cut the lead to 1, but the Mavericks were able to hold on. Josh Richardson was able to hit a couple of late free throws to seal it, and the Mavericks get the 105-100 win. Luka Doncic scored or assisted on 32 of the team's 37 baskets. I asked Kristaps Porzingis after the game about staying patient, as Rick Carlisle made it a point to mention how much he stayed patient throughout the game and waited for the game to come to him, what it meant for him to hit that big three after struggling throughout the course of the game. Here's what Kristaps Porzingis had to say.
Kevin Gray, 105 through the fan. KP, Rick just talked about you having to stay patient in this game and waiting for your time to come. Can you talk about that patience and staying focused in that big three that you hit in the fourth quarter there?
Yeah, just doing what the team needs me to do and staying ready for the moment. And that was it. Knocked that shot down and won the game. So happy for that.
So Kristaps Porzingis saying, look, stayed patient, waited for my time to come, and was able to help the team get a huge team win as they get ready to come back to the American Airlines Center on Friday night. Obviously, a huge win for a Mavericks team that played much better on the defensive end, holding the Clippers to just 36% from the three-point line, but more importantly, was much better in terms of defending the paint and in the fast break area, only allowing the Los Angeles Clippers to score 38 points in the paint, but also held them to just 8 points in transition, which has obviously been a central theme for the Clippers in this series, to get out in transition, but also dominate in terms of the points of the paint. They were not able to do so in this game, and that is due to the zone defense, but more importantly, the size of Dwight Powell and Boban Marjanovic making a huge difference, getting some timely three-pointers. The Mavericks also went 17 of 19 from the free throw line, which has also been a huge struggle for this team in this series. Tim Hardaway talked about this team having to have a road mentality going into game number 6 against this Los Angeles Clipper basketball team to try and put away this team in 6 games. Here is what Tim Hardaway Jr. had to say.
I mean, we actually keep that road mentality, Coach says, when we're back at home. We already know AAC is going to be live. It's going to be exciting. It's the weekend, so everybody's going to be there early, ready to get the juices flowing. And but we know what we have to do. And like I said, it's going to come down to the first team with the home victory at this point. So we just got to make sure that we do a phenomenal job of staying poised, staying patient, attacking when the opportunities present themselves, and just like I said, keep your foot on the gas, man. Keep your foot on the gas.
So Tim Hardaway Jr. saying, look, we've got to continue to have a road mentality. We've won the 3 games, and it's going to be the first team that wins a game at home that's obviously going to win this series. And the Mavericks are trying to look to be that team that does that on Friday night. But this goes back to Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic on 37 shot attempts. Yes, got the huge, massive game that he had with the 42 points. Goes 17 of 37 from the field. More efficiently, 6 of 12 from the three-point line. Was a plus 15 for the Dallas Mavericks. Did he shoot too much? Maybe. Did he take some ill-advised shots at times? Maybe. But he had to put the team on his back. And that's exactly what he did against the Los Angeles Clippers. And for the Mavericks to walk into Los Angeles for the 3rd time in this series and walk out with a road win, that just shows you the kind of team that they were in the regular season. They were 21-15 on the road, one of the best road records in all of the NBA. The road warriors are the Mavericks, as they continue to be, and they did so. Give credit to Rick Carlisle, too. I didn't think the move in putting Boban Marjanovic was going to work, much like how a lot of us didn't think it would work. But give credit where credit is due. Rick Carlisle pitched a perfect game in this one. And for one night and one night only in the playoffs as a starter, Boban Marjanovic handled his business. We'll see if he starts game number 6 on Friday night when that game tips off at 8 o'clock. I will be in the building again. Hopefully my voice will come with me. But at the same time, the Mavericks walk into Los Angeles, get a 105-100 win behind a terrific performance from Luka Doncic, a little bit of help from Bobby, and some timely three-point shooting from Tim Hardaway Jr. And yes, the much maligned Kristaps Porzingis, but unsung hero Dwight Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith in terms of his defense were absolutely terrific for a Mavericks team that held Paul George to just 23 points in this game, while Kawhi Leonard only scored 20 in a massive performance for this Mavericks team. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. I will talk to you on Friday from the American Airlines Center, where it will be a raucous, near full capacity crowd. Cannot wait. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.